Hello and welcome in this video. So I've been asking a lot of times that I'm basically showing just results of brands that are spending a lot of money on ads, and so there are smaller brands that don't understand that basically this is just a journey. So it's not the brands start spending like $50,000 per month on ads, like just from scratch. Of course they will have a starting point where basically they start spending 5K a month and then they slowly increase the budget, and that's the actual scope of this video. So in this video I basically want to show you the exact process and the phases that we follow when we scale brand from 3, 4, 5K ad spend per month up to 50,000 per month. And this is also with this video comes also with a case study, because it's something that we do like with all our clients basically. And we have some brands where we start working with them when they spend like 5K a month, like in this case specifically here. And we like with the pass of the time, of course, we start spending more money, and there are different phases when it comes to scaling. So the actual process of increasing the ad spend while ideally keeping a good return on ad spend is called scaling. And so what scaling means, it's simply just increasing the budget, because the more you spend, the more traffic you bring to the website, and ideally, of course, that the more sales, so the more revenue you bring. And in this case specifically, we start from spending 5K a month. This is when we got the brand. We jumped in October. October we spent 7K, November we spent 13K, then December we spent 24K, January we spent 18K, February we spent 32K, March we spent 27K, and April to date, so the 1st until 22nd of April, we have spent 30K and got a 5.82 return on ad spend. So that's around 200K in total revenue. We're gonna probably hit even more than 200K this month. And by the way, this is not 30, this is 30K a month. Okay, sorry, oh no, this is the revenue. So basically when we start working together with this brand in during this period here in September, they were making 60K a month. Keep in mind that this was between ad and organic, and then now they're making more than 200K per month between ad and organic. The actual return on ad spend at this point here in September 2024 was around 4, now is around 5.82. So we were able to increase the ad spend, and at the same time we're also able to increase the return on the ad spend. And this is actually quite uncommon. It's not something like easy to do, of course, and actually usually what happens is the opposite. So when you start increasing more the budget, the return on ad spend decrease. And in this video I want to show and explain exactly how this can be avoided basically, and how the scaling can be done into 3 different phases. Let's start from the phase number 1. So starting from the phase number 1 is the phase where we start slowly increasing the ad spend. So this one was 5.5K in September, 7K in October, and then 13K in November. And then, as you can see, the budget start increasing much more. So phase 2, we double from 13 to 24, and then there is like January is 18, you know, just like New Year's and everything, and then February again 32,000, March around 30,000, and then April we're gonna close probably at like 38,000 in ad spend. And so how we did this? Let's start from the phase 1, which is the slow increase. So during this phase there are a couple of things that you need to do. So the first one is to test ad angles, ad concept, content types, to understand what works and what doesn't. Ad angles are basically the marketing messages that you use to deliver your ads. Then you have the ad concept, which is the actual visual type. So you can have before and after, you can have point out, you can have features, you can have day 1, day 30, you can have just static images. That are like different concepts. And then you have content types. The content types is the actual type of the content. So basically like a static image is a video, professional video, UGC video, carousel, catalog, and to understand what works and what doesn't, because this is something that needs to be understood for every brand, because every brand has a different different things works for different brands. So you cannot say in advance, oh, I'm just going to use statics, I'm just going to use UGCs. On average, we what we see and what we do, we can easily, like everything we did here, we're just using static ads. So we did it without UGCs. And that means that in this brand specifically, we were able to do that. Also on other brands, we do it, but on other brands, sometimes we mix also with UGC content. So like what you have to do the other day is understand what type of content can work. And what basically means it means that this like there could be winners into this type of content, and this winner are content that generates consistency in sales with a good return on ad spend. You don't want to see like 1 or 2 orders and then you call it a winner, because that's not a winner. So you need to identify at this point winning angles and creatives. Once you find winning angles and creatives, you need to test scaling capacity of winning creatives, because you need to understand actually if those winning ad creatives can keep up when you increase the ad spend. Because if they don't, it means that they are not really winners. Or if they are, just like when you start spending 1-2K a day on the specific ad or like the specific campaign, even much less actually, the performance will drop a lot. And you cannot scale basically. So you need to slowly increase the budget to understand if these creatives can keep up performing at the higher budget. If winners hold, then you can move to phase 2. In this case, you like to be honest, what you need is just like Advanced Shopping Plus in a CBO setup, which is the new setup that Meta is rolling out recently on like almost all the ad accounts. You can choose between ABO and CBO. It's basically just like an Advanced Shopping Plus. It's just like they're now putting all together within one campaign, which is called just Advanced Shopping Plus. You can pick either ABO or CBO, and you just need one campaign, CBO. You need to understand what products sell. I mean, it depends also on your brand, because if you have many products, then you need to also understand what is the main product that is selling the best, and so you can focus on this product. What we did during this phase, this brand has like I think probably 12 SKUs, something like that, and so we picked basically like the top 4 products, which are basically the products that are generating 80% of the revenue, and the performance are good, and so we started pushing these products. So that's something also you need to understand. Again, also depends on the brands that you are. Like if you're running ads for a jewelry brand, it's a fashion brand, or like a supplement brand, there are like different things that needs to be considered. I've made already a video on my channel where I talk about Facebook ad strategy for jewelry brand, and I'm also gonna make another one for supplements. So if you want to see that video, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Anyways, phase 2. So phase 2 is the fast scaling. What fast scaling means, it's basically you start increasing more the budget, and you keep scaling the existing creatives until your KPIs are just above the target. So let's say your target is a 2x return on ad spend. Don't be greedy with the target in terms of return on ad spend, because if you keep a 5-6x return on ad spend and you increase the budget, you don't increase the budget because you want to keep that, in reality you're not scaling. Alright, so what we did here in April, you see a 6x return on ad spend for 5.8, but in March return on ad spend was like 3, and in February was around 4, something like that, 3.84. So and then in October and November it was 5, 6. So we increased the budget. So you need to increase the budget when you see this kind of return on ad spend. You cannot keep it, of course, because you want to scale. And this is how you grow the company. Of course, you need to be profitable. That's why you need to be above the target return on ad spend. Our target was 2, and so we started scaling until we saw like a problem in March, and we fixed this problem in April. And so April again, we had a 6x return on ad spend with a 38K spent. Okay. Anyways, phase 2. Phase 2 means fast scaling. That means that you need to spend more money to increase the overall revenue. You will see a lot of other benefits coming from ads at this point. You will see more organic searches, more organic sales, a lot of different things coming. Don't stop increasing the budget until you reach a target. This means that if as I mentioned before, even if you get a 3-5x ROAS, but your target is 2, you must keep increasing the budget. If you want to scale, of course, okay? Once you scale fast and keep increasing the budget daily, ideally you want to increase the budget every like 2-3 days, 20%, unless you create separate campaigns, but I don't suggest to do that, because you can just do everything within one Advanced Shopping Plus in CBO. It depends also on how much you're spending in this case, because what I'm suggesting sometimes is to have different campaigns, like different CBOs per different products. So If you have identified more than one product, what you want to have is one shopping plus for different products. But you can check the other videos when I talk about Facebook ad structure and everything. This is not the video where I want to talk about that, because otherwise it's gonna be too long. But you can check the other videos, so I go like more in details about those things. Your return on ad spend at this point can drop suddenly if you don't keep testing new creatives that can replace the current winners, because you're increasing the budget. The more you increase the budget, the shorter the life of the creative will be, especially of the winner one. So after, like, let's say 10 20k spent, 6k spent, the ROAS will drop, and the winning creative is not a winner anymore, so you need to replace it with new winners. During this phase, you need to start producing more ads that can be tested while winners are actually scaling. And this is how you can jump into the phase 3, which is basically keeping a high return on ad spend, much above the target, at a very high spend, which is this case, so 30k. Okay, and in this phase here, we were around phase 2, as I mentioned before, 3x return on ad spend. Then we increased the testing, and as soon as we found more winners, we were able to increase the consistency, because the problem here of a 3x return on ad spend was that the winners were dying very quick. So we were getting like a 6x first week, 2 weeks, and then the performance were dropping. And so we started producing more content until we're producing like 80 content a month for this brand here. And as you can see, in April went very well because of the amount of creatives that we have tested. This much more. So there was a problem of consistency, because some weeks it was like 6x, 5x, and then other weeks like 1.8, 2, 1.2. And so we had to fix this problem. And so this is basically phase 3. So this is very important. The only way to stabilize the performance is to keep testing content. We produced 80 creatives a month for the brand above, and we did that to keep a consistent 6x with 30k month spent, 30k plus actually. Again, this month probably is going to be 35k, even 40 probably. Now the important thing here is to keep your creative production costs low while maximizing, this is very important, while maximizing the winning creatives percentage. So the percentage of winners that you find when you test. If you overspend in creatives, your real return on investment, not return on ad spend, return on investment will be actually much lower than the ROAS is showing you, because ROAS doesn't count doesn't count the production cost and the overhead cost you have to produce those ads. If you spend too little, the winning testing ratio could be too low, and then you end up spending too much before finding a winner. What basically this means? This means that you need to find a balance between let me finish actually. That's why we, as an agency, we don't charge per creative produced, but we charge a performance fee based on the winners that we find. And this allows us to keep producing winners and allows the brands that we work with to be more profitable. So what I'm saying here is that basically if you need to scale, you need to produce more ads. Well, now when you produce more ads, you need to hire more people, you need to hire more agencies to produce more, like you need to produce more, right? And so if you keep your costs low because you want to hire like junior people to have more volume, there's going to be a problem because you need to spend money to test. And if this person is a junior, probably you're going to spend like 20k before finding a winner. And even if the winner is gonna bring like another 20k revenue with a 6x return on ad spend, for you is nothing probably. You're still not profitable. So even if you see a 6x return on ad spend, you're not, right? Because you spend too much to test. And at the same time, if you ever pay for creatives because you need more volume, and of course you get charged a lot to produce more volume of creatives, you will end up spending a lot in creative production, and these costs will not be covered even if the return on ad spend is like 3-4 with the winners that you find. So this is basically the example that I mentioned here, and something that you need to keep in mind, ideally what you want to keep in mind, is that you want to have a winning ratio of 1 to 10. So every 10 creatives that you test, you have one winner. Now, these 10 creatives includes also variations, of course. Variations, just to precise this, like to point this out, variations is not a variation of color or like a button or like just a different way to say the same thing. Of course, variations means variations of angles, variation of concepts, and variations of headlines. So the most important things in an ad. Okay. We like as an agency we have a 1.4, like 1 to 4, 1 to 5 ratio, because we have a lot of experience. And so this is basically what is like what usually happens when you hire someone with a lot of experience, like could be us, like, or like other people. The concept is that those people usually tends to find winners much faster. And this will allows you, which also allows our clients, of course, to keep margins very high. That's why it's very important to hire A players, right? And those A players usually needs to be able to produce a lot of content and have the highest percentage in terms of like winning ratio. And yeah, this is basically what you want to do, because if you don't do this, the margins will be very thin. Now, I highly recommend you to check the other videos in my YouTube channel, where I talk about different Facebook ads structure and everything. Again, you can do everything with one Advanced Shopping Plus CBO, but there are much more details to this, like many more details, because you need to also consider how many products you're running, how many offers you have, the countries and everything. So make sure to check out my other videos in my YouTube channel. And if you have any question, feel free to answer. Feel free to ask anything like under the comments here. And yeah, this is basically it. And I'll see you in the next video.